Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Spencer Farr with Logistar Solutions, and I will be your host today. Today's presentation is part 3 of our ongoing webinar series focused on SAP's warehouse management and extended warehouse management solutions. During our presentation, we will focus on a specific case study from Harry and David. We'll review their decision to select EWM as well as discuss project experience to date. We're very fortunate to have them on the program today. For those of you who've missed our previous webinars, they are available on our website at www.logi-star.com. The next scheduled webinar will highlight parcel shipping with SAP, leveraging XPS cross-carrier package and shipping solution. That webinar is scheduled for March the 29th. A few housekeeping items before we get started. At a high level, I will provide you with a brief overview of Logistar Solutions, and then I'll hand the microphone over to Heather Krupp. Heather is Manager, Manufacturing and Warehouse Systems for Harry and David. During the presentation, please submit any questions via the chat feature within your online view, and we will respond to the questions at the end of the presentation. If for some reason we do not get to your questions due to lack of time, please feel free to send an email to info@logi-star.com. The same email will be available on the last slide of the presentation. So let's get started. Logistar is a solutions-focused systems integrator that specializes in SAP warehouse management. While we are what you may call a boutique consulting firm, we maintain the deepest experience in North America and Latin America in SAP Extended Warehouse Management and WM. This is validated by both our customers as well as SAP with many credentials, including some exclusive designations such as Rapid Deployment Status with SAP. Being solutions-focused, we work across many verticals that handle or ships product, including some of the higher volume, more complex industries, such as wholesale distribution and retail. As warehouse management is our strategic focus, we provide products and services that tie into SAP WM and EWM. As we look at the charts surrounding the warehouse management star on your screen, I'll review the related services and products that we offer. If you look at the top left box, we utilize native SAP technologies for radio frequency barcoding. These RF transactions are delivered using SAP Console or ITS Mobile. Also, we have a methodology called LogiVoice, which allows us to layer in a voice engine to enable multimodal automatic data collection transactions. This allows us to utilize voice for picking as an example in our projects. On the top right of your screen, specific to the shipping process within SAP, we provide the XPS cross-carrier small parcel shipping solution, which is an ABAP add-on for SAP. XPS facilitates shipping from within SAP for small parcels via UPS, FedEx, and LTL carriers, and includes freight rating and address validation. We offer XPS in WM and EWM environments. Transportation management is SAP's offering for transportation execution. TM is really the more comprehensive transportation management solution for ocean freight and full truckload. SAP's current version of TM is 8.0. On the bottom left of the screen, tied into warehouse management solutions, specifically around EWM, some of the more advanced reporting capabilities include SAP's labor management solution, as well as advanced reporting and labor analytics such as warehouse cockpits and monitors. And then on the bottom right, being a turnkey solution provider, many times we are involved from the beginning of the implementation cycle, which allows us to cross-reference the SAP evolution and the warehousing requirements, showing the short and long-term approach. This strategic approach allows us to assess, compare, and identify the best fit for your environment, as well as consider both distribution and production environments. From this, a clear roadmap is produced for your strategic path forward. With that, I'll hand over the presentation to Heather so she can cover their case study.
Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for having me on today. I'm going to go over a little bit about our history and the reasons we chose EWM, our SAP landscape, and then we'll go into some of our processes in EWM that we are configuring at the current time and our implementation date. From the project as a whole. So here at Harry & David, we actually have 3 companies that are included in the Harry & David umbrella. We also have Wolferman's, which is a breakfast and bread pastry company, and Cushman's, our citrus company. There are 3 separate entities under our Harry & David name. We make it easy to have the kind of celebration everyone loves. For those of you who do not know about Harry & David, I encourage you to get on the website or go out and to one of our stores and try some of our products. A little about our history. The founders of Harry & David were Harry and David Holmes, 2 brothers, and they came to the Rogue Valley, and during the 20s, they had Royal Riviera pears, and business boomed, and they thought everything was great. And then the Great Depression hit, and all of a sudden they saw the market drop out from under them. So they decided to take a couple of trips to San Francisco and New York to market their fine pears to the captains of industry, and basically advertise them as, wouldn't you love to give these fine products as gifts to your family and friends? And that was the beginning of Harry & David as America's premier direct marketer of fruit and food gifts. We're proud to be one of the nation's oldest catalog mail order companies. We still do a good majority of mail order, although, as everyone knows, everything is moving to the internet. We have a very strong internet presence as well. A little about our operations. We are vertically integrated, and for what that actually means is that we actually have orchards that grow all of our pears located at our headquarters in Medford, Oregon, around the valley. We have our bakery that's located in Medford. We have manufacturing and our order entry and fulfillment. We do it all in-house. We also have our direct marketing, our catalog business, as I mentioned. E-commerce is becoming more and more a factor, and then our business-to-business gifts. We also have stores. We have right now around 60 specialty and outlet stores across the country, and then we have also wholesale. So you'll see us in a variety of different stores around the country, and like I said, our manufacturing facilities. So everything is all contained in one company. A little about our history with SAP. We decided about 6 years ago that we needed to implement a state-of-the-art ERP system to establish a common system with functionality that could go across the entire enterprise. At that point in time, we were running a very old mainframe MRP and purchasing system, and it didn't really handle all of the capabilities we needed to. One of those was multi-site manufacturing, since we had opened up a separate facility in Ohio. We also wanted to standardize those operations between the 2 sites. Another reason when we put in ERP was we were going to upgrade and retire our Catalyst WM system with the SAP WM with inside the the ERP. That was a main goal. And we wanted to provide a robust solution for our wholesale division, as it was growing by leaps and bounds at the time. They didn't have a full system they could use. And then we wanted to improve the customer responsiveness and be more flexible and efficient in how we did our manufacturing and got our product to our customers. So one of the things was our business was growing. We needed to be able to produce products, design products more efficiently, and with our old manufacturing system, we couldn't do that. We couldn't plan and replan those activities on the fly or the various manufacturing plants independently to isolate everything that we needed to. Or on the reverse, we couldn't join that procurement and get efficiencies out of that either. We also couldn't evaluate our cost variances during the course of the month. You got it one time a month, and that was it. So that was another big thing we needed with a new ERP system. And then because we were on an old mainframe system, when a new employee came in, it was learning a whole new world for them. So we wanted to reduce the amount of time to train employees across the entire system, and being on one system is the way we decided that would be the simplest. And then we wanted to reduce the amount of data entry that was needed, from material information to customers to vendors. All of that thing was stored in various different applications, and we needed to consolidate that and bring that together. And last but not least, we definitely wanted to simplify the IT support structure of our applications. As I go through this, you'll see we have many applications that help us run our system or our business, and we wanted to be able to be more efficient in that. When our ERP process kicked off in October of 2006, and we went rapidly through things, the normal SAP process, and then we implemented in February of 2008. So we are coming up on our 4-year anniversary of being live with SAP. And as you can see, we did the big bang approach and implemented everything. You're looking at this list, and we're paying attention to one of the slides that said replace Catalyst WM. You can see that WM is not on this list. There was a reason for that. We found that within the ERP WM did not give us the full functionality that we were used to in the best-of-breed solutions we had, and the users decided they could not give those things up, and so we didn't implement, and we decided we'd wait it out. At that point in time, EWM was a very new product. There were only a few people that were live on it, and we didn't want to take the risk of going that direction, as well as a full ERP solution. A little about our current IT environment. As I mentioned, we have a variety of complex applications that help run the business. They all require integration to one another. One of the biggest is our homegrown order entry system that drives all of our customer orders from direct marketing. We also have numerous departmental side systems to help support the unmet requirements and a lack of formal, consistently shared information that we don't have in one place. Our current WMS systems, and this is the main reason for going forward with EWM, we're extremely back-versioned, and certain aspects of them are unsupported. They're the hardware in the database and a variety of different things. We're running our Catalyst Warehouse Management version 9.2 and Red Prairie Warehouse Management version 6.0. Both of those are extremely back-versioned. We also have a retail management system for stores, which is inside of it has a custom inventory system. It basically is a mini warehouse system that was written in-house. We also have all of the interfaces and custom air handling that are needed to support the interaction between the warehouses and ERP to keep everything up to date and our inventory levels in sync so that what we're saying to our customers is correct. This gives you a little bit of an idea about the numerous interfaces between Catalyst and SAP ERP. This is what we do on a daily basis to keep the systems in sync and make sure that we're fulfilling our orders to our customers, to our wholesale customers, and also to make sure that both of our manufacturing sites have the proper materials needed for production. This is Catalyst. Very similarly on the Red Prairie side, and someone is having to maintain all of this on a daily basis, make sure that the data is flowing smoothly and that they're correcting the errors as they occur. So about a year and a half ago, we decided that we needed a new WMS system. We needed end-to-end warehouse management that provided the full visibility across all locations that were within our network. We knew from past history that we needed that tie between EWM and manufacturing to keep things in sync and make sure they have the product at the time required for manufacturing. The users are very used to license plate barcoding for tracking their product throughout the warehouse, and having two best-of-breed solutions that was within those. They could not give that up, as well as our full RF capabilities. Another thing they needed to ensure is that they had wave creation and assignment. Almost everything done in the warehouse for picking orders is done through wave. They didn't want to give that up, obviously, after building their processes around it. We also decided that we needed to eliminate much of the manual processes. We had several things from our clerical, we had a kitting process that took a lot of manual intervention. We also had order close processes that also took a lot of manual intervention. We said we need to find ways to improve these processes. We needed to improve the inventory transfers between our sites and our plants. We do ship to many locations, not just our two main warehouses. And we needed to improve the batch control at the end customer level. Being a food company, it's very important that we know exactly what is going out to our customers. So after some careful consideration, we decided that we were going to go with LayoutOriented. There were several reasons we picked LayoutOriented, but they proved to be a superior in their EWM expertise, and they have not let us down at all in that area. They have 8+ implementations completed, and I'm sure as of writing this, there are many more than that. One thing that was invaluable that they provided us was a pre-blueprint training session for the key users. This was able to give the users a good look at the system before we jumped into it. And to do that, it gave them a sense of responsibility and a sense of what the project was going to entail, and really allowed them to take ownership of the project from the very beginning. It wasn't just something that we came in and said, here you go. So that was invaluable, and for anyone looking to do a project, I would suggest that is something you really consider. And of course, the last thing is they were recommended by SAP. That in itself was a big plus. We had a couple options when we decided we needed to replace our WM systems. We could have just upgraded the two systems. we decided that probably wasn't the best direction to head. We didn't want to do the same things we were doing. SAP was now mature. Many more customers were on it, and we felt that we could go ahead and take that step to go forward on that platform. So we're going to consolidate all of our custom applications under one platform. It reduces the IT complexity. We wanted to reduce the Excel and Microsoft Access and other side systems they were using. We reduced the maintenance cost of 2 WM systems, and we reduced the interface complexity and the interface maintenance costs associated with keeping those systems in sync. On the plus side, we're getting some enhanced capabilities with EWM that we didn't have before, or we had only on a minimal level. We're going to have full labor management, which we had at a small amount in our Red Prairie system. We're going to enhance that greatly. We have the full HU tracking, which is very similar to our LPN license plate tracking that we have. We're getting something we didn't have before, which is value-added services, and we'll talk about that a little bit in the process steps. That's a big thing for us, and we see great benefit in using that. We're going to get some slotting capabilities that, yes, they were in the old systems, but weren't utilized, as well as cross-docking and yard management that were there but not utilized to the full extent. Sorry, guys. Clicked on the wrong thing. We had some project expectations when doing this. We have to get our customer orders out in the quickest, cost-effective manner. We fulfill a good majority of our direct marketing customers in 3 weeks in December. That somewhere equates to about 450,000 individual packages going out of our facilities a day for 3 weeks at a time. That's about 85% of our yearly business for our direct marketing company. We had to have something that was extremely versatile and allowed us to do this and get those orders out the door. We also wanted to see our labor management and track that at a higher level. We're going to be able to get that out of it. One of the big things, increased stability and functionality. Obviously, as I said, we're shipping 85% of our direct marketing orders out in that short amount of time. We can't afford for systems to not be up and running. And we know from past history with the ERP system, we don't have downtime problems with SAP. As I say that, I'm going to knock on wood because obviously I've said it now and now I've jinxed myself. We needed to utilize our current RF infrastructure. We have a very old RF infrastructure, and part of this project was not to replace that. And we're able to do that with EWM. I said before, eliminating the need to maintain this data in all sorts of external sources, and all of these external tools we had, like Excel and Access, and using those things were a key thing for the system. And then a condensed project timeline. Because we do ship so much in December, we need to implement during the summer, during basically over our 4th of July holiday, when it's the quietest time before a lot of manufacturing gets started, so that we have the time to shake out the system and get everything in line. So our implementation right now is scheduled for the July 4th weekend, and we are on track to make that date. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Syed to go over some of our EWM processes that we are configuring in the system. We have numerous things we're doing. This is a small variety of them. So it's up to you, Syed.
Thank you, Heather. Good afternoon, everybody. Basically, continuing the discussion from Heather, before I get into the processes, I would like to talk about the two different warehouses where the EWM will be implemented. One of the site is in Medford and the other site is in Hopewell. The Medford site, it's a pretty old warehouse facility where it started off as a building and then they added more buildings to that. So the Medford warehouse is not a classical warehouse type of layout. It's a group of buildings embedded to go together, and the product flows through different buildings through a process that I will explain going forward. And the Hopewell site is more of a classical warehouse within four walls, and that's what the regular flows through in the warehouse management system. Medford site uses the Catalyst system. It has a lot of custom applications, and Red Prairie is being used at Hopewell site, which is one of the best of breed WMS systems. So coming back into the processes, what we have ensured is to have a commonality between both the sites. To use both the processes as close to the standard as possible with minimal enhancement. But of course, with any EWM implementation, we do end up with some enhancements that Heather will cover at a later stage. So coming back into the EWM processes, first part is I will be covering the inbound process, wherein the grown fruit, basically receiving of grown fruit is the fruit that comes from the orchards that are owned by Harry and David. So basically these are some adjustment transactions that happen in the ECC system, but these particular fruit comes with a standard bin structure. They have different types of bins. So EWM has a functionality of packaging specifications. We'll be creating specific packaging specifications for the type of fruit that is grown. And once adjustment transaction of receipt is done in the ECC system, it flows into EWM system to create an inbound delivery, and it creates the handling units automatically. So basically the pallets are built based on the packaging specifications. So that's the receiving a grown fruit process that we have designed, and they can scan the pallets and receive a lot of pallets in a very short amount of time during the season when they receive the fruit. Now the external vendor receipt process is where the products are received from external vendors. There are no specific quantities defined in the system. There are no specific dimensions provided by the vendors to be stored in the system. So when the product is sent, the receiving personnel create the pallet on the fly. So that's what this particular process is here. There is no auto packing done here. No packaging specifications will be set here. Based on the actual product that is received, the receipts will be performed against those pallets. Receiving STOs, as Heather has outlined, there are a lot of sites within this operation, and a lot of products that are received at the Medford site are sent to the Hopewell site, and similarly Hopewell site transfers to other sites. So in here again you might have a question as to why we don't have handling units used. It's simply because when the products are transferred from one site to another site, they are floor loaded to save the cost on transportation. So again, at the time of receipt, you have to build the pallets based on the floor load that you receive. So here we don't do auto pack as well. And subcontracting purchase orders are things where the components are sent out to subcontractors. Harry and David has, and they produce the finished gift and send it back. So again, for this, the quantities are not streamlined, so that is why we'll be building the pallets at the time of receipts. Now, transfer staging process is something that I would like to mention. I'll take a few more minutes. It is specific to Medford, simply because there are so many buildings, and a product is received at a single place. The final destination of that particular product will be in building 3, and the product is getting received in building 1. So to go from building 1 to building 3, it goes to different transfer staging areas. So this was one of the very critical requirement for the metro operations to work. So we are using standard functionality of process-oriented storage control with the custom development, so that the product, when it is received, it will have the final destination listed, whereas when it is staged, it will still continue to show the final destination where the product will be placed. So these are some of the shortened version of the inbound processes that are that we are using. The next process that I will cover will be the outbound processes. So the first other outbound that I would like to cover is the direct marketing. These are the most critical piece of business at Harry and David, and they cover almost 80% of their volume. And in a given season peak time, basically there will be around 400 to 500,000 orders dropping and have to be shipped during a day. So what we have designed around this process is to consolidate these orders by a load and create a wave by a load, and bulk picking those particular products, and then individually distributing at the final end to ship the products out. Wholesale process is the regular shipment process, where there is an order for huge quantities of products. So the product is basically picked. And if you have noticed, we are using process-oriented storage control, which I will cover in the next slide. What exactly it means is the product is picked, and some packing tasks have to be performed on this particular product, and then it is staged, loaded, and shipped. So this is what we are going to achieve through process-oriented storage control in an automatic format. And then as Heather has outlined, the other line of business is the stores. It will kind of flow through the wholesale process for some products, and for some products will not have the process-oriented storage control defined for that. So it's a mix of both the DM and wholesale process that will be shipping. And similarly, or for all the transfers to STO, it will follow through the wholesale process again. The only difference being that after staging, the product is kind of floor loaded on the trucks instead of the whole pallets being built. So one of the other functionalities that we started using is the shipment to TU integration functionality. What happens is on the ECC side, they have an integration. Harry and David has an integration TMS system to align the loads in a uniform way, so that the truck is completely built before shipping the product out. So the TMS kind of sends the shipments to ECC, and we create shipments in ECC, and with the standard EWM functionality, we create transportation units in EWM for the whole shipment. So that way the warehouse personnel have traceability at the whole truck level to see if if the wave has been released and if the orders are getting picked based on the schedule. And to support this whole flow, we are using wave management. For DM orders, what happens is basically some personnel in the warehouse will be monitoring the waves before they release the tasks into the system. So so we have set up the system so that manual wave release happens for those order types. But for orders like wholesale and stores that can really, as soon as they drop in, they can be released to be picked, we have set up automatic wave release templates over there. So that the orders, when they drop in, they get released into the warehouse. As I touched earlier, basically for DM orders, we are doing bulk picking. So the bulk picking is normally referred to as two-step picking in EWM, where the whole orders are combined to be picked at the first stage, and then at the second stage, they are individually confirmed for every order. For wholesale orders, we are not using that. It's a lot of pallet pulls from the warehouse, so we use one-step picking process for wholesale orders, and it is defined by order type that we use. In the next slide, I will cover a little bit detail in about process-oriented storage control. This is one of the newer functionalities provided by EWM system, and it considers material attributes that we define in the system, and you can configure a sequence of steps for which you can on the outbound processes as well as the inbound processes, and you need handling units to do that. So just to give a little detailed flow as to what it is, I'll go to the next slide and show the flow as to how it works. Now you have an order that has dropped in, and the order has to be picked from a high-rack storage. So for that particular product, we assign an indicator and assign some sequence of steps against that particular indicator. So example, for that particular product, it has to be packed first, then loaded next, and shipped. So what we can do is we can configure the system to have these steps defined in a sequence. So once the picking tasks are created to have the product picked from the high-rack storage, they are automatically directed to a packing work center where the product is packed. And once the product is packed, and systematically when you confirm that the packing step is done, system automatically creates the loading tasks instead of user intervening. So this is the difference between the older WM systems where we had to create multiple tasks to do this particular process, whereas with this particular process-oriented storage control setup, this happens automatically. And it's like a sequence of steps that are performed. The product is picked, it is packed, and then it is basically loaded from the staging area. You can have you have a staging step, you have a value-added services step involved in this. So these are all the standard attributes that are present, and we can use that particular flow. And if you don't want to have all the steps configured for some of the products that are shipped because they are just picked up from the forward pick areas or the fixed bin areas to be shipped, you have the other process as well where you don't have to assign that particular attribute to the product, and the product is picked from the forward pick areas and shipped directly. So EWM has the flexibility for both of these options, and we are configuring both of these scenarios at Harry and David. On the next slide, I will talk about a layout-oriented storage control, which is one more newer functionality that has been provided by SAP in EWM. This particular process will be used in Hopewell warehouse. Hopewell, as it is a classical warehouse, it has P&D and I&D points, and they have very high racks. So once a product is received or it has to be shipped, a product is picked by a particular device, and then it is staged into a staging area. So example, when you're receiving a product is received at the receiving staging area, and the runner picks up the product and puts it on a staging area close to the rack where it is supposed to be put away, and runner cannot really go 4 rack high to put the pallet away. So what they do is they stage the particular product, and there are the tow motors that pick up this particular product and put away the pallet into a final location. So with EWM, what happens is you can track, as Heather had outlined in her project expectations, that the inventory has to be tracked at every stage. On the staging area, on the runner, on the resource that who is picking the pallet to put away into a staging area, and then on the truck before going into the final location, they want to have a total traceability of the particular product. So with EWM, we can provide this particular functionality, and system has given some of these configuration parameters to help us achieve this particular requirement. So after the next slide, basically I laid out a flow as to how a product flows through. In detail as to in the ERP system, once a sales order is created, we have an outbound delivery will be created by a shipment planning workbench tool that we are building based on certain criteria. It creates an outbound delivery request and outbound delivery order in the EWM system. So based on the wave templates and all, if it is an automatic release or a manual release, the warehouse tasks are created for picking, and they're confirmed on the RF. So these steps are the picking confirmation of the picking process is done on the RF, and then the product is diverted to the packing station to perform the packaging related activities, and after which the tasks are created automatically it to be staged and loaded, and those once the product is loaded onto a trailer, the transportation unit is checked out to a checkpoint, and then a goods issue happens. Similarly, on the yard management side, before the product is actually loaded onto the trailer, we'll be getting in the trailer as a transportation unit in the system, and we assign those outbound delivery orders that are created in EWM to the transportation unit, and the transportation unit is checked in and moved to a door, and once it is moved to a door, the product is actually loaded onto the trailer. So the checkout process triggers the goods issue process. So this is a high-level flow that we have outlined for this webinar. But if you see, there are a lot of steps involved in each of these processes, like value-added services. We are using kit-to-order process on the outbound order side. So what happens is on a Harry and David terminology, they call it pack on demand. These are consistent components that make up a kit header. So to support this particular process, EWM has a standard functionality defined called kit-to-order process. What happens is a sales order, you need to have a sales bomb created for that particular pack on demand or the header product. And this sales order is created using the sales bomb. And once the outbound delivery is created for this particular sales bomb, within the sales order itself, it blows into the components. The outbound delivery kind of creates the components to be pegged to the VAS work center, value-added work center, and you build the kit header over there, and the kit header outbound delivery is again passed through the regular wave management process, and we can ship the finished gift out through this particular process, and value-added services are used. But equally, there is a functionality where there is a create your own process at the Harry and David, where they don't require a VAS order, but the components have to be packed. The main difference being the pod is a standardized structure, so we can define packaging specifications. And for a CYO order, it is no standard. Basically, anybody can order. One customer can order 2 muffins and a relish, and another customer can order 3 muffins or 4 relishes. So it is very dynamic. So we are using packing functionality without a VAS order to achieve this functionality of shipping the CYO products out from the system. So this is a higher level overview on the value-added services that we are performing on the outbound side. And on the inbound side, we do have some value-added services where some pricing labels have to be performed once a product is received. So we are using that particular process as well. So this completes the value-added services section that I have. And of course, with any project, we have a lot of enhancements for every process. So I will cover some of the enhancements that we came across during our blueprinting phase. The first enhancement, which is a little bit custom, is regarding the quality management. What happens is a product like fruit, when it is received, it goes on an incubation hold. for X number of days. It depends on the type of fruit that is being received. So we are using standard EWM quarantine period field to leverage this particular functionality. But the Harry David team requires the product to be automatically put on hold and automatically to release on hold after the incubation period is over for a given product. So this is where the enhancement is about that we have. And then for legacy system interfaces, we have a lot of interfaces as Heather has outlined, so I will request Heather to chip in and give some details around that.
The main things we're doing with our legacy system is you saw we're trying to get rid of a lot of our interfaces, and we're succeeding in that. But the one place we know we can't is our custom order management system that was written internally for our direct marketing orders. That is a very large enhancement, and we need to have those interfaces that send the orders to SAP. So that's one, and then we also have our stores legacy system as well that we're writing interfaces to. So we're getting rid of a lot of interfaces, but we do need a few left to run the business.
So the next enhancement that we have is the World Pick Phase enhancement. What happens is basically there are a lot of orders that are dropped in, but the forward pick areas don't really support all those particular quantities. So Harry David needed a functionality where the bins can be replenished to the forward pick area based on the order quantity that is there, and so that as soon as that order quantity, as soon as the forward pick area is picked and it is empty, subsequent replenishments have to be triggered into the forward pick area so that subsequent orders can be picked and shipped. So there was little custom logic that we had, there was little custom rules that we had to build around this particular enhancement, and we were able to do that because the standard EWM would create a whole replenishment request for the whole order quantity. Say the forward pick area holds 100 units, whereas the order is there are 5 orders dropped for 500 units. If we select the order-based replenishment functionality in EWM, it would create replenishment tasks for whole 500 units, and we did not want that to happen. So it would create tasks only to fulfill the bin quantity up to the max. So this is something that we have implemented. The custom part is some rules around as to how these tasks have to be created. On the next slide, one of the requirements, one of the enhancement was around RF on the pick and pack process. At Medford site, since it has so many buildings involved and the users don't know, they're not familiar with what orders they're picking, but they're familiar with the orders that they're picking, but they are not familiar with what wave and what is the description of the wave that they're picking to, because that kind of helps them drive the pick to a specific door, so that with that description they can put the particular product in a transfer staging area that drives to that particular door. So we have enhanced the RF picking transactions to display the wave and wave description so that it helps the picker drive through a particular path. On the stock removal rules, we have certain rules where regular outbound orders are shipped with a FIFO strategy, that is first expired, first out strategy. Whereas if it is a STO transfer outbound, it has to go through last expired, first out strategy. So based on the delivery types for the same product. So based on the delivery types, we have made an enhancement in the system to make sure that appropriate stock removal rules are considered for the product to be picked. So that is what is the functionality around that enhancement. The next enhancement is the production replenishment tool. that we are building for Harry & David is that the standard production orders at Harry & David are built for a weekly schedule, and the production lines, they don't have enough capacity to store all the component for the weekly schedule. So what the production operations do is they request specific percentages of production order quantities that have to be staged to their staging area. So since standard ECC does not have that particular functionality based on percentage or based on certain quantities, so we have built this particular tool to let the production users have the flexibility to pick specific list of components or the whole percentage of components that satisfy the production order header, and it works very nicely with EWM staging functionality that has been built with the latest EWM enhancement packs. So these are some of the enhancements. We have a lot of enhancements around the implementation, but we have stuck to as standard as possible in this particular project. So that's it from my side. I will hand it over to Heather on some of the lessons learned.
Thanks. So just a couple lessons learned from the project. The early informational training, like I mentioned before, was key to the success of the project. The users have a real feeling of ownership of it. Another thing we're learning kind of the hard way is defining the reporting requirements early on in Blueprint is vital for any project, and that always slips to the last thing. Don't let it slip. We're struggling to make sure that we have all of our reporting information needs met now, as we're very close to coming up on the end of this project. And then the business needs to have a willingness to accept the change process. If people are not willing to accept new functionality and changes to their processes, the project's not going to be successful. And we have a lot of change going on with this project from all sides of the business, and luckily they're very, very open to that type of change, and so we're going to be very successful with it. But if you don't have that, you're not gonna succeed. So I know we're running just a little bit short on time, but I think there were probably some questions that came in.
Yes, Heather, this is Eric. I would take over some of the questions. Some of the questions, and we try to categorize some of them here, is the first question was, what are some of the EWM deployment options that was selected, that was reviewed? SAP provides you two ways to go ahead and run your EWM environment. One is you can go ahead and run this on as an add-on in the ERP environment, or you could go ahead and set up an SCM box, which was your old APO system, and go ahead and run SCM on there. So at Harry & David, we choose to do the latter, which is where it gave us the flexibility to be able to go ahead and handle, have a separate system from the ERP to be able to perform all of our EWM functions in there. So I know we're running short in time, so I was going to go ahead and fill in maybe one or two more questions here. So Heather, the second question was for you, which is how many warehouses are you implementing?
So we, I think we mentioned in the presentation, we have our two main warehouse sites, both in Medford, Oregon, and in Hebron, Ohio, also referenced as Hopewell. We are going to implement both of those in the July time period at the same point in time. So we're implementing EWM at those two sites.
The next question was the SAP's EWM ability to handle high volume deliveries and shipments. So I would go ahead and answer that. SAP allows you to go ahead and run parallel processing for both the inbound, the outbound, the wave processing, and the TU integration. So that is actually being utilized here at Harry & David to make sure that we can meet some of the holiday shipments that we have in place, because at that time the volume is significant enough that we don't want it to be a bottleneck. The next question was more about, are we using production or production supply area? So I would let Saeed answer that question about production and production supply areas in there.
Yeah, basically the production supply area will track all the finished goods as well as the raw materials, and all the raw materials will be supplied to a production supply area on the EWM side, and once the finished good is built, the components are consumed from those particular from that particular production supply area. So we are tracking all the products to answer the question.
So the other question was also about EWM. Are we using it for production as well? So I think we've answered that question. The next question was about comparing yard management in ERP and yard management in EWM. These are two totally different functionalities in there. The question that was asked is saying, we're not finding the yard management in ERP is that robust. And to answer the question, yard management in EWM is extremely robust. You have the ability to go ahead and track trailers that come in, move it in the yard. You can also go ahead and have very tight integration with your transportation, also integration with your deliveries, so you can go ahead and based upon which deliveries or where the trailer is loaded onto the door, the deliveries actually get updated with the door information and the staging information on there. So we can actually go ahead and have more robust capabilities in yard management in the EWM side. The next question was regarding any issues we had with SIF or the deliveries from ECC to EWM. We do actually have a couple of baddies that we've implemented in for the SIF process. One is on the for the material master to be automatically extended when the product is SIFed over. We also have our batches that SIF over as well. We also go ahead and bring the customer and material masters, and we're putting prefixes on them for a customer and for a vendor. Supplier is an SU and a customer is a CU. That allows us to be able to go ahead and actually make sure that we do not cross numbers across the vendors and customers in place. I think I'll take one or two more last questions because we're really running short on time. So one of the questions was, can you receive an EWM and send the notification to ECC? So Saeed, I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible to receive the product in EWM, create an inbound delivery in EWM directly, receive the product against that, and it will post the notification back to ECC. Yes, it is possible.
So next the question was, should the special movement indicator be used to determine the final destination of the product? And I think this is more on the ERP side that the question is being asked. On the ERP side, there is a special movement indicator, but that doesn't translate to the EWM. In the EWM side, you have something called the process type determination indicator, which you can set up on the warehouse view for the product master. And that would actually allow you to be able to go ahead and perform something similar to your special movement indicator in what was functionality that was available in the ERP environment in there. The next question that I have is, I think this is for you, Heather. It's like, was the receiver at the receiving dock using ECC or EWM for a receiving function beforehand? So I think you need to mention the Red Prairie and Catalyst.
Yeah, so our receivers were actually doing RF receiving in Catalyst and Red Prairie. So that will all transfer over to EWM, and they'll be doing that there. And then those would, in Catalyst and Red Prairie, they were interfaced to ERP. Now they will be integrated.
The other question, Heather, for you as well is, what other systems did Harry and David look into before they chose EWM?
So, like I said, we really our only other option. We could have upgraded either the Catalyst or the Red Prairie products. We knew that regular ERP WM wasn't going to meet our needs, so we didn't even look at going that direction again. But we did want to go for a fully integrated suite of products and reduce our IT costs, and so that really led us down the path to EWM.
Okay, thank you. Another question is about some damages and all thing. What if the product gets damaged in the packing workstations? Saeed, you want to answer this? Because we do have the process where you can scrap goods and have the use of
basically,
reason code and all.
Yeah, basically we have different exception handling processes that we are defining where how the product is adjusted at a packing work center, or if the product is picked and it's on a staging area, if it's damaged, how do you handle that? And if a product is loaded, is getting loaded, it gets damaged over there. So we have different exception processes where how the product will be replaced or the split from the existing deliveries and adjusted or scrapping processes. So based on the individual requirement that are present around each of the sites, we are putting in this functionality to replace the product if that gets damaged.
So I'm going to try to answer 2 more questions and then wrap it up as we're already 5 minutes over. One of the questions is what interface type was chosen for ERP to EWM? Was SIF QRC's annual IDOCS interface? So we actually have all of the above, which is the SIF, the QRC, the IDOCS. We also currently have from some of the legacy system, we are implementing and having it via a RFC call in place and running parallel processing inside of EWM for some of the goods issue process in there. There's also a question about what dock and lane scheduling logic do you make use of in the EWM system. We actually have about 3 logics that we're currently being used. One of them, of course, you can just scan the trailer to a door and use that logic there. The other is you can do it by customer, or you can do it by route, or you can do it by carrier. So we're using all of the above option in there. So I think at this time we've already gone past our allocated time, so I do want to go ahead and wrap up this time for questions today. Please feel free to send follow-up questions to the email address on the screen. Hopefully we've got that email address coming up soon. If you want to go ahead and download a copy of today's webinar on demand, the instructions will be mailed out for you. We do hope to see all of you for part 4 of our EWM webinar session to learn about XPS, our parcel shipping and LTL solution that can be leveraged within our existing SAP ecosystem and requires no middleware or third-party application. This webinar date is for March 29th, and we'll be sending invites out on behalf of Logistar. So please make sure you do sign up for this session as well. On behalf of Logistar Solutions, I do want to thank all of you for attending today's webinar.